Let's talk about the safest and most dangerous neighborhoods or areas in the city of Barrie. Whether you're considering moving here, visiting, or just curious, keep this information in mind when deciding what to do, where to go, or where not to go. The safest two neighborhoods in Barrie, based on a number of different factors, are Innishore and Painswick. So if we take a look at a map of Barrie, and say you're coming up from the GTA, you're coming up from Toronto, you're going to be taking Highway 400 north here, and the two most safest areas or communities you're going to find in the city of Barrie are in the south end here. This is the Innishore neighborhood and the Painswick neighborhood. So you get to take a right on Mapleview Drive, you follow it along, and then here you have Innishore and here you have Painswick. Now there are some sub neighborhoods listed here on Google Maps, but predominantly when it comes down to city planning or what realtors use on the MLS system, this is the actual breakdown of the neighborhoods that we talk about. You have the East End, you have City Center, Lakeshore, Arda, Holly, and then you have Painswick and Innishore. I'll leave a link down to this article below. It's from 2019. Painswick is predominantly divided into more or less two sections. You have Old Painswick and you have New Painswick. You have homes in Painswick that have been built in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and then you have homes that have been built much more recently in the last 5 or 10 years. Innishore is also relatively the youngest neighborhood in all of Barrie. You're gonna find homes here that have been built in the last 5, 10, 15 years. Oldest probably early 2000s, as opposed to say the East End, where you're gonna find properties that have been built in the 1950s, potentially even older. In addition to that, about a decade ago, the city of Barrie annexed land from Innisfil, and right now there is a ton of new development going on in the south end here, just south of Mapleview Drive. We're talking thousands of new build single family homes, condos, townhouses going into this area right here. And all this new construction for homes and families and people has also meant a big investment from the city, businesses and resources flowing into the south end area over here. You have the new development investment, which means that you have new roads, new infrastructure, new water supply lines, new fiber optic lines for cable. You also have a new fire station that's going to be built to service the south end. You have great schools in these areas. Some of them have walking guards. Overall, there's a really good police presence in these two southern neighborhoods. There's some community watch programs, and they just built a brand new school / partial rec center, which is the newest and the best in all of Barrie to service all this new development that's going to be coming into this southern area. The one downside of these two neighborhoods is that they're also one of the most expensive in Barrie to get into, whether to purchase, to live, or to lease. The most common type of property within these neighborhoods, and very prominent in the Innishore neighborhood, is you have the 2-story, 2-car garage, 2,500 square foot plus home that is built for a specific demographic, which is a lot of people coming up from the GTA and from Toronto. These are overall large homes, and because they are newer and they are by definition some of the closest in proximity to the GTA, hence they have higher entry points for families, purchasers, or individuals looking to get in these two neighborhoods. By the way, I love it when people reach out to me and say they found me on YouTube and they have additional questions or inquiries about a video. So feel free to call me, text me, or email me. Days, evenings, or weekends, happy to help out where I can. And the two most dangerous neighborhoods or areas in the city of Barrie are City Center and Letitia Heights. Now in the past, the neighborhood that has been labeled as the most dangerous neighborhood in Barrie has been Letitia Heights. It's an older neighborhood, it's a mature neighborhood, it's been through some cycles of growth and decline. Primarily, it's been labeled this way because of many instances of small crimes, some larger crimes that have been more or less concentrated in the area, but I will say that is changing. Letitia Heights is on an upswing. There's growth happening in a positive direction. And what's really interesting about this neighborhood is that you can almost say there is a sub-market on every street or every other street. We've had clients flat out tell us before that they would be willing to live on one side of the street in a Letitia Heights area and not on the other side of the street. And there are areas that you'll drive into and say, wow, this is so different compared to the other street that I was just on. It depends on the owners, it depends on the demographic, but there is upswing happening. They just built a new commercial plaza. There are new owners moving in and are revitalizing the properties, older homes, or changing up the community and changing up just the landscape and scenery of this neighborhood. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a much different area, and that stigma or label of potentially being the most dangerous will have moved on. But without question, the most dangerous area in Barrie to live in or visit is downtown. This may or may not come as a surprise, but the downtown of any large city usually is going to have a concentrated level of crime for a few different factors. If you go online and visit barriepolice.ca, you can take a look at the Barrie crime map. It's on this page here. You read the disclaimer saying that there is a degree of complexity and accuracy when it comes down to looking at this Barrie crime map. And down here you have the categories or some description on the categories of these crimes that are going to be shown on this Barrie crime map. This is the community crime map. And you can see in the last 90 days, Barrie is a large city, right? There's over 150,000 people. There's going to be crime throughout any large city and smaller cities as well. But you can see without question that the Innishore and Painswick neighborhood, these two areas have the least amount of crime that has been reported in the last 90 days. Now, if we change this, we do 30 days, there's a lot of different categories, but I would say there are a few that really put an individual in a dangerous situation no matter what way you look at it. And that's going to be weapons, drug-related offenses, crimes against person, and alcohol-related offenses. Alcohol-related offenses could vary. Someone could have gotten intoxicated, started yelling, caused a scene. But in any case, when you have alcohol and potentially weapons concentrated or drugs concentrated in one area, that's where you're going to find yourself in a very, very dangerous situation that you do not want to be in. And if we zoom in, we could see without question that the downtown area has the highest concentration of these four categories when it comes down to probably the most highly dangerous situation that you can find yourself in. It's downtown, and it's kind of the overlying area where something might have happened downtown and then carried a bit north. Now, I do want to say this. Barrie downtown is a great area during the day. Barrie, as the city, puts on so much effort into making downtown pop and making it an amazing tourist attraction, which it is. You have restaurants, you have bars, you have a nightclub, a bar that turns into a nightclub, as well as a country club. So you have great entertainment there, but during the evening hours and when it gets dark outside, that's really when these crimes or these instances or situations do arise, when it's a conjunction of a few different factors and demographics and potential altercations or whatever might happen that gets concentrated into the area. So I wouldn't say don't go visit downtown, just don't go towards the evening time. If you really want to put yourself in the best position, enjoy everything it has to offer during the day, which is more than enough what you need. And if you want to avoid getting to a potentially dangerous situation, don't go there in the evening time, especially towards the late hours of the night, if like 11, 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That's really, in my personal experience, when I've been down there, that's when things kind of start to shift. And it seems like downtown becomes a very different atmosphere towards those hours. Barrie is overall a pretty safe city, but just as any large city, you are going to have areas that are considered safer and others that are not. If you're considering moving into or relocating to the city of Barrie, you now know that the two most safest areas or communities are Innishore and Painswick, but they do come at a higher price to get into. There are other great, safe, amazing neighborhoods, as we saw in the beginning of the video, that you can move into. The two most dangerous areas are going to be downtown predominantly, as well as Letitia Heights, which we talked about is a little bit more on a come up. Overall though, Barrie is a safe city. These are just 4 neighborhoods or 4 areas of an entire city that we covered here today. There's an article written by the Toronto Star talking about the safest city in Canada is in Ontario, news reports find. And that safe city, the #1 safe city on this list of 10, is Barrie, Ontario. I've linked all the resources used in this video down below if you want to do more research for yourself or explore this topic further. If there's anything that I missed or there are any additional questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. We can continue the conversation there. And if you are serious about potentially relocating to the city of Barrie, whether you're coming from the outside, relocating within the city, looking to get into and purchase your first property, making the right decision starts with making the right call. Make sure to check out one of these 2 videos too that you might find helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.